There's a room in every Japanese home that operates by a set of rules so ingrained, so absolute, that breaking them would feel almost unthinkable, like a small violation of something sacred. Not written rules, not rules anyone enforces, just deep unspoken instincts, passed down through generations, so completely absorbed that a Japanese person follows them without ever once thinking about it. That room is the kitchen. In much of the world, the kitchen is a place of cheerful chaos, the messiest room in the house, where things pile up, where "I'll clean it later" lives, where the mess of a meal is simply the price of eating. In Japan, the kitchen is treated with a quiet reverence that surprises almost every outsider who witnesses it. It's the room where the food that fuels your life is prepared, and that alone makes it, in the Japanese view, one of the most important spaces in the entire home, worthy of real rules, followed with real care, every single day. Today I'm going to walk you through 9 of these strict Japanese kitchen rules, the ones that are, in a Japanese home, essentially never broken. Some of them will make you rethink how you've cooked your entire life. A few of them you're breaking right now without ever realizing there was a rule to break. And I promise you, by the end, you'll understand the single principle underneath all 9 that explains why Japanese kitchens stay so effortlessly clean, so calm, and so free of the chaos most of us just accept as normal. Before we go on, a quiet note. The Japanese home was never really about the method. It's about a home that lets you rest, instead of one more thing to keep perfect. I wrote a small book on that idea. Wabi Sabi, Finding Peace in an Imperfect Life. First link below, if it calls to you. For now, let's keep going. Stay with me until Rule 6, because it's the one almost no one outside Japan follows. It takes seconds, and it's the reason Japanese kitchens don't smell. But it only makes full sense once you understand the rules that lead up to it. Let's begin with the one that governs the kitchen before you've cooked a single thing. Rule 1, clean as you cook, always. In a Japanese kitchen, cooking and cleaning are not 2 separate events. They are one continuous activity, woven together so tightly that they can't be pulled apart. This is the first rule, and it's the foundation everything else rests on. Watch someone cook in a Japanese home and you'll notice it immediately. While something simmers, they wipe the counter. While water comes to a boil, they put ingredients away. A prep bowl gets rinsed the second it's empty. A knife gets wiped and set down clean. By the time the meal is ready, the kitchen is already almost spotless because the cleaning happened during the cooking, in the small pockets of waiting time, rather than being saved for a miserable pile at the end. Here's why this rule is never broken. Because the alternative is genuinely worse, and Japanese cooks know it in their bones. In most Western kitchens, cooking creates a disaster that sits and waits. Dishes stacked, grease spread, ingredients out, counters buried, until after the meal, when you face it all at once, exhausted and full and least willing to deal with it. And in that waiting time, the mess gets harder. Sauce cements onto plates, grease hardens on the stovetop. Cleaning as you go isn't extra work. It's less work, done at the easiest possible moment, using time you were standing around anyway. The Japanese cook ends the meal in a clean kitchen. The Western cook ends it staring down a mountain. The rule? The cleaning happens inside the cooking. The kitchen is never left as a disaster to face later. Rule 2, the counter is a workspace, not a storage shelf. In a Japanese kitchen, the counter is sacred working space, and it is kept clear. This rule is close to absolute. If something is not being used right now, it does not live on the counter. This runs directly against the Western default, where counters become the natural home for everything. The appliances lined up like soldiers, the mail, the random objects, the small appliances used twice a year. In Japan, the counter's purpose is singular. It's where you work, where you prep and cook. Cluttering it with things that merely live there is seen as sabotaging the room's actual function. The reasoning is both practical and, in a deeper sense, philosophical. Practically, a clear counter gives you room to actually cook, makes the whole surface effortless to wipe down, and prevents the grease and dust that coat everything left sitting out in a kitchen. But there's more to it. A clear counter creates a sense of calm and order that a cluttered one destroys. A kitchen with clear surfaces feels twice as large and infinitely more peaceful. And it invites you to cook, rather than making you clear a space just to begin. Every appliance banished from the counter and given a home in a cabinet is a small act of protecting the room's purpose and its calm. The rule: the counter is for working, not for storing. If you're not using it now, it doesn't belong there. Rule 3: freshness above all. Nothing old, nothing wasted. Japanese kitchen culture runs on an almost absolute reverence for freshness, and it shows up as a strict rule. The old, the stale, and the expired have no place in the space where you prepare your food. This means spices are bought in smaller quantities and replaced before they lose their potency. Condiments earn their place by actually being used. Produce is bought fresh and often in amounts that will be eaten. The cabinet full of jars from 3 years ago, the forgotten sauce at the back of the fridge, the mystery container slowly dying in the dark, these simply don't accumulate because the kitchen is treated as a place of freshness and life, not a storage unit for things slowly going bad. But this rule has a second, equally strict half, and it's one of the most important values in all of Japanese life. Nothing is wasted. There's a concept called motenai, a genuine sense of regret at letting anything of value go to waste. In the kitchen, this means taking what you'll actually eat, using ingredients fully, finishing what you take, and treating food with the respect owed to the effort that produced it. Wasting food isn't just careless in the Japanese view, it's a small moral failing, a disrespect toward the food itself and everyone involved in bringing it to your table. So the kitchen holds fresh things, in the right amounts, used completely. Freshness and nothing wasted. The rule: the kitchen holds only what's fresh, in amounts that will be used, and nothing of value is ever wasted. Rule 4: keep the clean and the unclean strictly separate. This rule flows from one of the deepest principles in all of Japanese life, the careful, almost absolute separation of what is clean from what is not. And in the kitchen, where hygiene directly affects the food you eat, it's followed with real seriousness. In practice, this means a clear separation between raw and ready-to-eat foods, between the surfaces and cloths used for different purposes, between the tools that handle different things. The cutting board and knife that handled raw meat don't casually touch the vegetables you'll eat fresh. The cloth that wipes the floor is not the cloth that wipes the counter. There's an instinctive awareness of what has touched what, and a refusal to let the categories blur. Here's the mechanism, and it's genuinely about safety as much as tidiness. Cross-contamination, letting bacteria from raw foods or dirty surfaces reach the food you're about to eat, is one of the real hazards of any kitchen, and the Japanese instinct for separation guards against it almost automatically. But it also reflects that broader cultural map of clean and unclean, the same instinct behind taking shoes off at the door, keeping distinct things distinct, refusing to let the dirty and the clean mix. A Japanese kitchen isn't just wiped down. It's organized around the principle that what should stay separate stays separate. The rule: clean and unclean never mix. What touches raw or dirty things stays away from what you'll eat. Rule 5: everything has its place and returns to it. In a Japanese kitchen, every tool, every ingredient, every object has one designated home, and the rule is that it always goes back there. This is what keeps the kitchen in a permanent state of order, without anyone ever having to organize it. The knife has its place, the chopsticks have theirs. Each pot, each bowl, each seasoning lives somewhere specific, and after being used, returns there immediately. Nothing drifts. Nothing gets left out to become clutter. The kitchen resets itself continuously, throughout cooking and after, because every object knows where it belongs and goes back the moment it's done being used. The power of this rule is in what it prevents. Clutter forms when objects are set down for now instead of put away, and that happens because putting something away requires deciding where it goes. But when everything already has a fixed home, that decision disappears. Putting away becomes automatic, a reflex rather than a chore. And so the Japanese kitchen never drifts into the scattered chaos of tools and ingredients left wherever they were last used. There's a related efficiency too. When everything has a place, you can find anything instantly and cook without the constant low friction of hunting for what you need. A kitchen where everything has a home is a kitchen that runs smoothly and stays ordered on its own. The rule: every object has one home and returns to it the moment it's done. Nothing is left to drift into clutter. Rule 6: dry the sink, the rule no one outside Japan knows. Here it is. Rule 6, the one I promised you. The rule almost no one outside Japan follows. That takes only seconds. And that is the reason Japanese kitchens don't smell. At the end of the day, after the last dish is washed, a Japanese kitchen isn't just left rinsed. The sink is dried, physically wiped dry with a cloth. The basin, the rim, around the faucet. The kitchen is left with a completely dry, gleaming sink before the night is over. This sounds almost absurdly minor. It is anything but. And here's the mechanism. That sour, indefinable smell that develops in a kitchen, the one you can never quite locate and never quite eliminate, is overwhelmingly produced by bacteria. And bacteria need one thing above all else to multiply: moisture. A sink left wet overnight is a warm, damp basin holding traces of food residue, which is essentially a perfect environment for growing exactly the bacteria that create that smell. 8 hours of dark dampness every single night for years. Dry the sink and you remove the one condition the odor requires. Not the smell, the condition that creates the smell. You wake to a kitchen that smells like nothing at all, not because you sprayed something over it, but because the smell was never given the chance to form. And this is the deepest lesson in the entire Japanese approach, captured in a single 10-second habit. They don't clean away problems after they appear. They remove the conditions under which problems could ever form. Once you understand this one rule, you understand all of them. The rule: the sink is dried every night, the kitchen is never left damp for odor to grow. Rule 7: respect the tools, and they last a lifetime. In a Japanese kitchen, tools are not disposable objects to be used carelessly and replaced. They are treated with genuine respect, maintained, cared for, and kept for years, sometimes for a lifetime. This is a strict, quiet rule, and it shapes the whole character of the kitchen. The clearest example is the knife. A good Japanese kitchen knife is treated as a serious possession, cleaned properly, dried, sharpened, and stored with care, never left to knock around in a drawer or sit dirty in the sink. The same care extends to pots, pans, and the other tools of the kitchen. They're chosen thoughtfully, often few in number, and looked after so they perform well and last. The reasoning connects to that same value of not wasting and to a deeper respect for the objects that serve you. A well-cared-for tool works better, lasts longer, and makes cooking a pleasure rather than a fight. A neglected one degrades, performs poorly, and ends up in a landfill to be replaced by another cheap thing. But there's something beyond the practical here. A sense that the tools that help prepare your food deserve care in return. That the relationship between a cook and their tools is worth honoring. Owning fewer, better tools and caring for them well is both more economical and, in the Japanese view, simply the right way to treat the things that serve you every day. The rule: tools are respected, maintained, and kept, never used carelessly or treated as disposable. Rule 8: handle food and everything with care and attention. This rule is subtle, and it's about how things are done rather than what is done. In a Japanese kitchen, there's an ingrained attentiveness, a refusal to be careless, rushed, or thoughtless in handling food, tools, and the space itself. It shows in the way ingredients are handled deliberately rather than tossed around, the way a task is done properly rather than sloppily, the way attention is actually present in the work rather than absent. This traces back to deep cultural roots, including the influence of Zen, with its emphasis on bringing full attention to even the most ordinary task. The washing of the rice, the cutting of a vegetable, the wiping of a surface. Each is done with care, as though it matters, because in this view, it does. Here's why this quiet rule matters more than it seems. Carelessness in a kitchen isn't a small thing. It's how accidents happen, how food is wasted, how mess is made, how the quality of what you cook suffers. But beyond the practical, there's the understanding that how you do the small, repetitive work of the kitchen is a kind of practice, that bringing genuine attention to an ordinary task, rather than rushing through it resentfully, changes both the result and the person doing it. The Japanese kitchen is not a place to rush thoughtlessly through a chore. It's a place to do ordinary things with care, and that care shows up in the cleanliness, the order, and the food itself. The rule: everything is handled with care and attention. Nothing is done carelessly or in thoughtless rush. Rule 9: the kitchen is left clean and ready every single night. The final rule ties all the others together, and it's close to sacred in a Japanese home. The kitchen is never left dirty overnight. At the end of the day, it is returned to a clean, ordered, ready state every single night without exception. Dishes done, Counters cleared and wiped, stovetop clean, sink dried, everything returned to its home. The kitchen is closed for the night in a state of complete order so that it greets the next morning fresh and ready, rather than confronting you with yesterday's mess before you've even had your coffee. This is the rule that makes all the others sustainable, and here's why. A kitchen reset to zero every night can never accumulate the mess that requires a big cleaning effort, because it's never more than a day away from clean. The gap between the kitchen right now and the kitchen spotless is never allowed to grow larger than a single day. That's what makes the dreaded deep clean unnecessary. It has nothing to work on, because nothing was ever permitted to build up. And there's a psychological gift in it too. Waking to a clean, ready kitchen sets a completely different tone for the day than waking to chaos. The Japanese cook ends each day by giving tomorrow morning a clean slate. And that small nightly discipline is a large part of why the Japanese kitchen stays effortlessly clean, year after year. The rule? The kitchen is left clean and ready every night. It never carries yesterday's mess into today, bringing it all together. So, let's gather all 9. Clean as you cook. Keep the counter clear, freshness in, nothing wasted. Keep clean and unclean separate. Everything has its place. Dry the sink each night. Respect the tools. Handle everything with care. And leave the kitchen clean and ready every single night. Notice the thread running through every one of them. Not a single one of these rules is really about scrubbing harder or cleaning more. Every one is about prevention, order, and respect. Stopping mess before it forms, keeping everything in its place, and treating the kitchen as the important space it truly is. That's the secret underneath all 9, and it's almost the opposite of how most of the world treats its kitchens. The Japanese kitchen doesn't stay clean because someone spends hours fighting to keep it that way. It stays clean because these 9 quiet rules mean the chaos, the waste, the odor, and the clutter are never allowed to take hold in the first place. And here's what matters most for you. You don't have to adopt all 9 tonight, but you might pick one, the one that struck you most. Maybe it's cleaning as you cook instead of leaving the pile for later. Maybe it's simply drying your sink tonight and discovering tomorrow what a kitchen that smells like nothing at all feels like. Pick one and treat your kitchen for once as the important room it actually is, the place where the food that fuels your entire life is made. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 9 surprised you the most? And be honest, which one are you breaking right now? Tell me the number 1 through 9 down in the comments. And if this changed how you see your own kitchen, share it with one person who could use a little more calm in theirs. I'll see you in the next one.